we have a function. Previously we have a couple of minutes of discussion is over. I'm going to repeat again. Function means a collection of action items which are named to a particular block. The one of the name, it may or may not be the value function. For example, discuss about cleaning key. As a cleaning action items will into picture, or cleaning a bowl, or driving a car. Driving a car means like we need to change the gears, we need to accelerate and control the. We need to control the steering. Thing is part of that particular function. That particular driving a car. You can take it as a driving a car is a function. Inside that particular function, there are n number of tasks there. One is changing and handling a steering, and we need to check whether the vehicle are oppositely coming or part of this driving car. Understanding, right? These are the real-time examples for the function. Coming to picture of programming language. When we need to use the function in most important, only 2 points we need to remember whenever we are talking about the function. We need to reduce the number of lines of code. We need to reduce, if you want to reduce the number of lines of code, we need to go for the functions. How we can reduce the functions by using the functions, we'll see in the later PPT slides. As of now, try to remember why we need to use the functions. We need to reuse the existing code. First point is. Second point is we need to reduce the number of lines of code. It means if effectively you need to write the program. As per our discussion in the last class, the effective way of writing any programming, the effective way of writing any software, unnecessarily we are declaring a variables, unnecessarily we are declaring a functions, unnecessarily we are declaring a methods, or unnecessarily we are declaring all the functions. So we need to avoid those kind of declarations or using the built-in functions. We need to avoid those things, and we need to reduce the number of lines of codes. It means we already discussed about one of the example for effective way of writing program. See, the best example is everyone using smartphone, right? Everyone using the WhatsApp, right? So if the WhatsApp size, the WhatsApp exe files are what in your way, the technical word is exe file. In your way, you can say is a WhatsApp software. The size of that particular software is, if it is more than 1 GB, how many people are going to install on your mobile? So here, whenever you are creating any good software, whenever you are creating any application, whenever you are creating any software, you need to think in a way that I need to lines of code so that I need to reduce the memory, and means if the memory size is very less, then people are interested to use that one. If the memory size is very used, automatically your system performance is going to get slow, very slow. Why? Because whenever you are booting your laptop, whenever you are using your mobile, it is going to recall or reinitialize the whatever the software which are present in your laptop or in your mobile. So you need to think in this perspective also. Whenever you are talking about, whenever you are creating any good software, whenever you are creating any applications, application means like WhatsApp is application, Facebook is one of the applications. These are the applications in your mobile. These are the third party applications. So you need to keep it in one point in mind. You need to reduce the memory of that particular application. So for reducing the memory of that particular application, what we need to do? What we need to do? In previous class we discussed whatever the built-in functions are existing in that particular programming language, we need to effectively utilize those built-in functionalities. On the top of the built-in functionalities, you need to create your user-defined functionalities as well. You need to create the user-defined functionalities as well. So what we need to do? How we need to? Out of this entire conversation, need to remember only 2 points from the functions. Functions are used for the reusing the existing functionalities or reusing the existing code. And the second one is the we need to reduce the number of lines of code. So the best one more example I will give. I will stop here. Whenever you went to the any supermarket, the real time example is whenever you went to the supermarket, what will do? They will scan the barcode. They will they will calculate the how many items which are you are taken from the supermarket, and finally what they will do? They will calculate the bill and generate the bill. See, generating bill is one of the function. So if I'm not writing the generating a bill function over there, every time I need to create one variable for each and every variable. I need to store in generating a variable, one of the variable. I need to display every time. So memory is going to get wastage. Instead of that one, I will create one of the function is generating a bill. Whenever the person will come, I will scan the barcode and everything is going to added to that generating a bill function. And finally, it will add the tax, whatever the things are there, Swachh Bharat tax, whatever the things are there, they will add those taxes also. Finally, they will generate the grand total bill. So here the function is a generating a bill function. Instead of creating a function over there, if you are not going to create any function over there, what we need to do? Every time we need to initialize one variable as a generating a bill. That is not a function, that is a variable name. I need to store every time I store the total bill in that particular variable. I need to write one more generating, one more person will come. I will generate one variable. These many times I need to create a variable so that memory is going to get wastage. So you need to effectively utilization of the memory also. We need to go for the functions. Now understanding, right? Generally, what is a function? The definition of a function, definition of not in terms of general. We'll talk technically in after a few couple of minutes. Now, as of now, try to remember effective utilization of the memory and effective utilization of the code and effectively utilization of the predefined function as well as the built-in functions. Understanding, right, everyone? So we'll move on to the today's agenda. First, we will discuss about what is a function in terms of technically, in terms of Python, why we need to use the functions, and syntax of that particular function, how we need to write, how I need to define, how I need to call a function, how I need to pass a arguments to the function, how I need to pass the parameters to the function, how I need to return the value to the function. Everything we will see in the coming PPTs and some of the real-time examples to that particular functions. Some of the real-time to that particular functions. Now we will see the definition, the technical term of functions. Now everyone try to remember. So I know C++, I know C, I know Java. Don't think like that. Here functions is same for C, C++, Java also, but some of the features are not there in the Python program. Just like a function overload, it's not there in Python. It is there in the C++. That's why I'm trying to alert you. Those people who knows the programming, like, oh, I know functions. What is point of listening this particular class? Don't think like that way. Why? Because definitely add-on points are there in this particular class. So they might be same functionalities, but might be some changes also there in Python as well. So be alert. Try to focus. write it down. What are the problems you are going to, what are the doubts you are going to have? By end of the session, we'll discuss about what you have in the doubts. Okay. The function. Now we'll see about the what is a function. A function is a block of organized reusable code that is used to perform a single or related action. As we already discussed about functions in the general way, reusability of the code. Reusability of the code. It means generating a bill means I'm again and again using that particular function for generating a bill. Or if you're driving a car means I'm driving a car by changing the gears and controlling the steering, everything coming to picture. Whenever I'm driving a car, these are the functions or these are the action items are part of that particular function. So a block of organized. Read this particular sentence. Block of organized the code. Like whenever the large program is there, or large, the best example is your don't think that why always Surendra is talking about the WhatsApp. Why? Because might be all people are familiar with the WhatsApp. Nowadays, 99% people are using the WhatsApp. That's why I'm taking example as WhatsApp only. In the WhatsApp, sending a message is one of the function, and receiving a message is one of the function, and calling a video call is one of the option. Attaching a file is one of the function. These are all the functions. Why? Because this particular large application, in the particular application, n number of action items are there. So these n number of items, this n number of actions, I am splitted into blocks of the codes. And splitted into blocks. I'll give name to that particular block as one of the function. That particular function, the real-time example is WhatsApp, sending a text message. This is one of the action. So I'm just opening a mobile. I'll start typing that one, and I'm clicking on the post button. So it is going to send to the destination person. This is one of the block of organized code. So whenever I'm pressing on the send button, it will call the what function? Sending a message to the terminator. Terminator means originator means the person who is sending the message is originator. The person who is going to receive that message is the terminator. So whenever I'm pressing the message send button, the send button means this is that function is that particular send button is going to call one of the function that is called sending option. That internally some of the action items are there. To whom I need to send, how I need to send, where I need to find out the particular terminator. Everything is part of the sending option. Receiving option means it will receive from the tower to my particular mobile. So this is one of the block of the code. So we are dividing the large number of application into group of blocks. We are going to give name to that particular block. Then that is called as a function. So that function, whenever I need to use one more time, I'm sending to one of the person. I want to send it to one more person which are there in the my contact list. Again, I will use the send function only. So it means what I'm doing over there, I'm reusing the existing functionality. I'm reusing the existing code that is used to perform a single or related action. Understanding right now? Everyone, understanding right everyone? Now we'll try to see the functions provide better modularity for your application and a high degree of code reusing. High degree of code reusing. One more important point over here is, if you see, it is going to be interlink every time. See, if n number of code is there, I already told you, right? We are working in a project. It is taking time of 20 minutes time for compiling a code. So if you reduce the lines of code, in that particular application, you can effectively utilize that particular application, whatever the functions which are present in that particular programming language, you can reduce the compilation time as well as the runtime as well. Don't think that why it is taking 20 minutes time to you. After reducing only, it will take 20 minutes time to once. Okay, why? Because we are using the entire functionality of the mobile, originator and terminator mobile, entire functionalities. Once we call, what we need to do, once we need to send message, what we need to do, everything. We are working in a mobile applications. So these are the things coming to picture. That is secondary. Forget about that one as of now. That is not part of our training. So after it will take 20 minutes time. After reducing after effective utilization of that particular we are using C++ and Python programming language. It's a combination of both of them. After effectively utilization only, where it is taking 20 minutes. For example, if I am not using the functions, if I am not using the functions which are there in built-in function as well as the user-defined functions, it will take more than 40 minutes or 50 minutes. Then how can I reduce this number of lines of code? Means based on our experience only, we'll get to know how I need to make it as a functions, how I need to effectively utilize the inbuilt functions. Based on the experience and based on the practice only, we'll get to know how we can effectively reduce the lines of code. So the third point is Python gives you many built-in functions. Like why we mention specifically is built-in function. We'll discuss about what is built-in function and what is predefined function. User-defined functions. Built-in functions like a print. You already seen the print functions. So most of the people knows print function, right? Whatever the things which are there in that print, that parenthesis, it is going to print on the console, right? So, but we can also create our own functions. Built-in functions means whenever you install any compiler or whenever you install any IDE for that particular programming language, backend some supporting files are going to get generated. Backend some supporting files are going to get generated. The best example is, you might be, I already discussed about this particular thing is in the previous class also. Again, I'm going to repeat in this class also. Built-in function, the supporting files. I gave the example as a VLC player. You might have remember. Whenever you install VLC player, the supporting files of that VLC player is going to be there in the programming files folder. What is the supporting files are there in the programming files? See, everyone using the VLC player also. If you press the control and forward button, the 10 milliseconds or 10 seconds are going forward. Who is going to tell to the computer to, if I press the control and forward button, 10 minutes for 10 seconds are forward? And who is going to tell, if you control backward button, who is going to tell to the computer it need to go for 10 seconds backward? Not exactly 10 seconds, it might be 15 or 20 seconds. Here you need to remember one point is, how can my computer get to know why it is going to forward and why it is going to backward whenever I press the control forward button and control backward button? The definition of these shortcuts are present in the VLC player supporting files. Similarly, the Python IDE, whenever I install any Python IDE, the built-in functions, print and all functions which are present in this particular programming language is going to, the definition of print function is going to be present in that supporting files. That's why whenever you are creating a variable and giving a name to that particular variable, you are not supposed to use the variable name as the built-in function names. You are not supposed to use the function name as function names. Variable names must not be used as the built-in functions which are already present in that particular programming language. Why? Because if you give the variable name as the built-in function name, it will treat as not a variable, that treated as a function name, and it will check the definition of that particular name. If the syntax is proper, then you will get the output. If the syntax is not proper, you are not supposed to get any output. Understanding, right, everyone? But we can also create our own. Here we are creating our own functions. We are giving name to that particular function, and we are going to call that particular function whenever we need. The best example is supermarket generating a bill application. I need to create my own function. I need to write my own variables. I need to write I can write built-in functions also in the functions. So I will call built-in functions in that particular function also. So I can effectively utilization of the built-in functions, and I can, on the basis of and a collection of these many items, I will keep it as in one particular block. I'll give name to that particular block. Then that is called as a function. That whatever you are creating your own function, then that is called the user-defined function, not a built-in function. Now you got to know, right, what is built-in function and what is user-defined function. What is the difference between both of them? Got to know, right, what is a function, why we need to use a function in technical terms. Whenever, definitely whenever the person who knows programming language, the person must know what is the definition of the function. A function is a block of organized and reusable code that can be used to perform a single or related actions. But better modularity for your application and a higher degree of coding reusing. There are two different ways, types of functions are there. One is built-in functions. Why? The definition of built-in function is already present, already defined in the compiler side. And user-defined function, we need to write our own definition to that particular function, and we need to explicitly call those functions whenever we need, whenever we require. Until unless you are not going to call that particular function, it is not going to get any out. You are not going to get any output. Understanding, right, everyone? Everyone understand, right? I hope everyone understand. Please try to be attention. Like, why? Because this is more important task, a more important topic. So we'll see what is the syntax of that particular function. What is the syntax of that particular function? Forget about all the programming language now. As of now, the function name always start with the definition of that functions. DEF. We need to start with the DEF, definition of this particular function. Definition of that particular function. This is a keyword we are supposed to use whenever you are going to create a user-defined functions. Function definition begins with the DEF keyword. Once it is after written the DEF, then followed by the function name. What is the particular function? It must be meaningful. It must be meaningful. Whenever you are writing any programming language, whenever you are writing any application based on name, the function name always start with the lower letter, and the following keywords always start with the capital letters. You must be remember this point. If you want to follow the coding guidelines, we gave here underscore. If you are not going to give underscore over there, if you need to give it's not mandatory. If you want to follow the proper guidelines, you need to use this one. Get G start with the small letter and F start with the capital letter, and in the answer A also start with the capital letter. If you are not going to use the underscores, and these are the arguments, parameters, whatever the things are there. As of now, forget about the arguments and parameter. Why? Because I will explain about what is the argument, what is the parameter, what is the return value. These 3 points I am going to cover in the next slide. As of now, try to remember what is a function, how I need to declare a function, how I need to define one particular function. The function, if you want to define a function, it must be start with the DEF. That is a keyword you need to use for defining a user-defined function. Defining a user-defined function, you are supposed to use the DEF keyword and followed by the function name. If you want to follow the coding guidelines, the function name always start with the small letter, and remaining all the words, first letter of a remaining word start with the capital letter. The best example is generating a supermarket bill. Generating, G is the small letter, supermarket. S is a capital letter, S is capital letter. Supermarket, bill, B is a capital letter. Okay, and we are passing the parameters, arguments to this particular function, and end with the colon symbol. End with the colon symbol. End with the colon symbol. And here, if you write any application, finally I will get to know by seeing the function name only. I will get to know what this function will do. I will get to know by seeing the function name only what this function will do. Why? Because we need to follow the coding guidelines. If I'm after some days, if I'm not going to see some particular period of time, after some days I'm going to open that particular application. No, I don't know what this function will do until unless I'm browsing the code, until unless I'm seeing that particular code. If this particular name is also not sufficient for some of the applications or some of the functions, for some of the user defined functions, then we need to write the description. After the function name, after the function definition, the first line of the function definition start with the documentation of the string. It means why we need to define this particular function in this particular application. Why we need to use this particular user defined function in this particular application. It means if it is a driving a car function, in the particular driving a car function, this particular user defined function handle the controlling a gear, changing a gear, and controlling a steering, and seeing the roads beside, whether other vehicles are coming, all the functions which is going to handle in this particular function. It means in terms of technical, we need to say the documentation or comments. We are providing the comments to that particular block. Why we need to use this particular function? What is the functionality of this particular functions? What are the parameters I need to pass these particular functions? And these are all things coming to picture of the documentation string. After the documentation string, we need to write the set of statements. You already remember, right? One of the key feature of a Python programming language, there is no braces. If you compare with the other programming languages, whenever the function will start, whenever the loops will stop, whenever the conditional statements will start, whenever the control statement will start, it must be start with the braces, open bracket and close bracket. But in case of Python programming language, we can able to understand indentation only. Not supposed to write. If you want, you can write. But by seeing the indentation only, we'll get to know this under this particular function how many statements are present. If you observe this one, try to see line 1, line 2, everyone in the same indentation. Indentation means following the same lines, following the same space, maintaining the same space. The indentation matters. First line with less indentation is considered to be a outside of the function definitions. Means if I write over here, it come and out of the function definition, and it will treat it as a out of that particular function. If you write over here, then it will treat as a inside the function only. Inside the function means what? We already discussed about the function means it's a collection of statement. We are giving name to that particular block. Then that is called as a function. So that particular function, some set of statements will come into picture. Line 1, line 2, line 3, line till line n. The keyword written indicate the value to be sent to the caller. After explicitly calling the get a final answer, then it will return one of the value in this particular variable, and it will send back to the called function. Who is going to call that function, then we'll send the value. Now understanding, right, how what is the syntax of function? Everyone understand, right? What is the syntax of the function? Please, everyone be patient. You can try to understand what I'm trying to say. Once you got to know, after you got to know the concept, you need to practice the example. Based on the how much you practice the example, then only you will get to know. But before practicing the problem, you need to know the theory concept. No header files or a declaration of the types of functions or arguments. Now you can compare with the other programming language. Now you can compare with the other programming language. Whenever I want to use the functions, we need to use the some of the header files for the header files in the to the other programming language. But in case of Python programming language, no header file or declaration of types of declaration of type means like int function name, void function name, float function name, means the return type of that particular function name is a void or whatever it is. If the person knows other programming language, try to recollect our programming skills. Whenever we are defining a function in other programming language, we'll write void so and so function, or int so and so function, or float so and so function. It means the return type of this particular function. It is return type of this particular function is void, means nothing. The return type, if it is a int, means return integer value. If it is a float, means it is written the float value. Here, everyone try to see. Here definition is there, right? If it is other programming language, here the data type is also going to get present, whether it is a int, float, or void, whatever the things is there. It means the value, this function is going to return the void, means void. Void means it is going to return nothing. If it is a int, if I mentioned over here int, means I am returning the, after completion of this particular function, I am returning the integer value. Understanding, right? Now we'll see there are two kinds of functions are there in the function Python. We already discussed, right? There are two types of functions are there. One is built-in functions. Second one is the user-defined functions. Built-in functions that are provided as part of the functions means it's already the definition of these particular functions are present in the compiler set, or whenever you use the IDE, whenever you install the Python IDE, the definition is present in the Python IDE. Raw input, type, float, int, these are the inbuilt functions. Functions that we define ourselves and then use. So functions, if you want to create our own functions, we need to create and we need to define and we need to create our own function. Built-in function names are reserved words. We are not supposed to use them as a variable names. Out of this PPT, you need to remember one point. Whenever you are going to use the initialize the variables, right? Previously also you initialize the n number of variables, list, or set, number, string. You simply initialize one variable and you assign the value to that particular variable, right? You assign a value to that particular variable, right? So whatever you are initializing variable or declaring any variable, that variable name must not be as the built-in functions which are present in the Python programming. Not only in Python programming language. If you take any programming, built-in function name as a variable names. Not supposed to use the built-in function name as a variable name. Advantage of user-defined functions. What are the advantages of user-defined functions? User-defined functions help to decompose a large program into small segments, which makes program easy to understand, maintain, and debug. The final point is very, very important over here. User-defined functions help to decompose a large program into small segments. We already took one of the example as a We talk one of the example as a WhatsApp, sending application, receiving application, making a video call, everything. These are all the things are coming to picture of. These are all things coming to picture of different modules, different functions, which make program easy to understand. This is one of the important point. And maintaining is also very good point. And the most headache and critical point is over is debugging. Most important point is debugging. Let us take one of the example for this one. I'm not going to write any user defined functions. I'm going to use, see, defining a function means I'm not explicitly writing something beyond the built-in functions or beyond the programming language. I'll keep it some of the statement. We are going to keep it in one particular block. I'm going to use that particular block. If I'm not going to use the function also, I can able to complete that particular task. That is secondary. Don't think that without functions I'm not able to I'm not supposed to complete the whatever the customer given the task to me, or whatever the given requirement. I'm supposed to use the function. Not like that. Without function also I can able to complete the task. But the smartness where it come into picture is, if I'm not going to use the functions, the program is going to become this much large. Whenever I'm sending a message to originator to terminator, again this example, something went wrong, that the receiver is not receiving a message. The sender is sending message, but receiver is not receiving message. I'm not using the functions. So this much big program, I need to check entire program. Instead of checking the one particular block of code, that particular block of code name is a sender sending a message. Instead of looking into this particular block of code, I need to look into the entire program or entire application. So debugging is most important thing for the functions. Why? Because we need to save the time as well. Whenever I'm sending the message, the receiver is not receiving message. So I need to check the sending option, where it went wrong. If the person is receiving that message, if the person is not able to receive, on sending side it is success, but receiving side is failure. So I need to check the receive function. So it is very easy to divide that particular application into chunks of blocks, and I can look into that particular block only. Why? Because if I'm sending the message means it is not going to call the video option, right? While sending the message, same as originator to the terminator or sender to the receiver, if I'm sending this particular function in the phone, it is not going to call the making a video call program code, right? So you can effectively utilize the time as well also. Unnecessary blocks, unnecessary code, it is not going to call whenever you are creating a functions as well. Understanding, right, everyone? Now everyone understand, right? So if repeated code occurs in a program, function can be used to include those codes and executed when needed by the calling that particular function. Again the example of supermarket. Again the example of supermarket code. Repeated code occurs in a program. Means generating a code, generating a bill, generating a bit, generating a bill coming to picture. So the function can be used to include those codes and execute when needed by the call that particular function. Whatever the functions I am calling for generating a bill, I'll keep it in one particular block. I will name it as a generating a bill. So whenever it is needed, we are going to call that particular function. Programmers work on large project can divide the workload by making different functions. And real-time project I will explain. I will explain. I will take one real-time example. I will explain about the real-time project. Whenever the client gives the requirement to the any one of the company. What they will do, the large, see, for example, one client will come and they will ask like this way: I need one kind of app. It is similar to work like a Facebook. The functionality must be it's similar to a Facebook. So in the Facebook, what all the activities are there? Posting a message, or posting a text message, tweeting or retweeting, whatever all the things are there, right? It is divided into different tasks. In the that particular company, there are a number of teams are there. One team take it as a posting message, one team will take it as a sharing that particular post. These, they will divided the task into divided the project into different tasks, and these tasks are sent into the each and every team which are present in that particular project. Understanding, right, everyone? Programmers working on large project can divided the workload by making different functions. Now, whenever the one team working on the posting a message or posting a image, they will create a one function, and sharing the posted message, they will use the different function. Understanding, right, everyone? So now we are going to talk about the arguments, parameters, and return value. I told you right here, we'll discuss about the arguments and parameters and return type. Now, before start writing the simple program in functions, we'll see the what is the definition of arguments and parameters and return value. An argument is a value we pass into the function as its argument is a value. It is a value. This is a hello all is a value. We pass into the function. This is a function. We are passing into this particular function as its input, where we can call that particular function. Whenever we are calling that particular function, we are passing a argument. We are passing a argument to this particular function. We are passing a argument to that particular function. We'll see one of the example for this one. Might be font size is not visible, right, to everyone. Need to go to configure IDE and we need to change the font size. Apply. Okay. Everyone able to see right now? Options. Configure IDE. Everyone able to see, right? Or will final option? I will go with the final option. I make it as a 34, and this one I will finalize. Make it as a bold as well. I don't know why it is not coming.